a web-based talk show for and about the LGBT community. And now, let's keep the conversation going with your host, Gary Elgin.
Welcome back to the Lavender Table. I'm Gary Elgin, and I'm with Jean Nutter, the Queen Mother, Mama Jean. Again, I want to thank you because not only are you a friend, but you're one of the pioneers of LGBT rights here in Knoxville.
I never thought of myself as a community organizer, but I guess that's what I am.
You are and were. You were one of the very first from our conversations. Knoxville's 10% was begun on your watch.
Yes, I was the, actually, truth be known, there were 12 people that got together and decided to create a civic social organization. We were not politically inclined because we all had divergent political philosophies. So we decided to focus strictly on our community. And as I said earlier, those 12 people grew an organization to, at our apex, we had probably about 150 members, which is quite astonishing considering it was in the early 80s when people were still reticent about coming out.
Right.
And to belong to an organization like that, you had to be willing to be accepted publicly as well as socially.
Well, you had to be able to stand up and say, yeah, I
Yes,
am queer.
yes, if the need be.
Right.
If the need be. We didn't emblazon it on a blazer, you know, there was no...
a wristband.
Or a wristband, no. No, but we showed up for meetings.
Right.
And my dear friend, Myra, was the first president, but he accepted a job 4 months into the first official cycle of the organization elsewhere, and so I was voted in. Being vice president, I was just promoted. And then I was the president for the next 4 years, and then 3 years lapsed, and then I was president, I think time gets away from you when you're my age, but I believe a second time for 2 years. So all in all, I was president of that organization for 6 one-year terms.
And am I correct? This was a precursor to, or a where in the scope was this and Lambda?
Lambda didn't.
It was a precursor.
It was a precursor.
Yeah.
We are the organization, or I still think in those terms because,
Sure.
you know, it's a baby that you helped inculcate. And I'm horrible with some terms, incubate.
Incubate. I was learning a new term.
And I'm so horrible about using the wrong word at the wrong time. But
You coined a new one. I like
apparently.
that.
We were the ones that started Age Response Knoxville. And the Most Reverend Bob Gallagher, a dear friend, we don't see each other, Galloway, I'm sorry. We don't see each other often, but when we do, it's 25, 30 years ago.
Sure.
He led that, and it was seed money provided by Knoxville's 10% that started Age Response Knoxville. Age Response Knoxville was started as a fundraising arm. We provided. This is back when the Department of Health and Human Services did not accept or acknowledge the needs of people with HIV. And of course, as we talked earlier, that falls hand in hand with the ignorance of the medical establishment as well as the community itself. And so we literally started off with the idea that if somebody were ill, we would pay their utility bill. We'd buy them groceries. We'd pay their rent. And we raised money to do those things. And then, under Bob's magnificent guidance, it blossomed. Unfortunately, about 12, 14 years later, after its arrival, it had become unnecessary in what its guiding charter was and faded away. And I think that is a very sad, it was a sad moment for a lot of us of my generation who had fought so hard for its existence and fought so hard to fund it. But it does not remove from fact how much good they did when no one else was there.
Yes.
And I do want to call somebody out individually on this. We were talking about this earlier. Your mind wanders.
I'll help you if you let me.
Go ahead.
I don't know.
She's a wonderful woman.
Deborah Cummings.
Try again. She's a very wealthy woman.
Of course. I know her more better than my own name. Julia Tucker.
Julia Tucker.
Yes.
Thank you. I was stuck on Judith, who is her daughter, by the way.
Yes.
But Julia Tucker.
Judy Roy.
Julia
Yes.
Tucker lost her son to AIDS. He was one of the very first ones. Bill Powell was a wonderful human being, and he was a close friend of mine. And people like herself were unafraid to stand up and take a position.
Yeah.
And she had the wherewithal to help in myriad ways.
But socially, she could have been damaged immeasurably.
Oh, in any number of ways, because she's always been a very she's a political activist. Let's just call it what it is. And she served on many boards, the last of which I believe was the Ethics Commission that she was chosen to be a member of after Black Tuesday. That unfortunate incident with our former sheriff. But back to the story. Julia saw the need for something, and she bought a rundown apartment house. Julia, I'm calling you out. She bought a rundown apartment house on Magnolia Avenue.
The Graham house.
The Graham, yes. And she, at her own expense, had it outfitted so that other than an elevator, it was outfitted for people that had handicaps.
Yes.
Or ill. Let's just say ill.
Yeah.
They were ill. They needed rods to get in and out of the shower or the tub. They needed lights that did not go out when the power went off because they might have a breathing machine. She did so much for this community. And by her involvement and her activism, it opened the community. You were talking that when you came back in the early 90s, she literally was an individual that changed the course because she was well known, well respected, and well positioned in the political and social aspects of this town. And when she spoke, people listened.
I was going to say, and not to be stopped.
No.
I think we're going to have to come back and revisit this. Believe it or not, we're running out of tape. We're going to have to change tapes. We'll come back with Gene Nutter here on the Lavender Table in just a moment.